the story, so I'm going to be recording the audio. So I'm going to get that going. Okay, so is this Susanna and Richard?
Ooh, you have 10%
Yeah.
battery.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so the first question I have is, how do you feel, how have y'all felt lately about your responsibility as student journalist, and what has been each of your, like, what has been the main motivation for each of you to take on that responsibility?
I think for me personally, being a student journalist through all of this, for me, I mean, I'm a photographer most of the time, and I think it was kind of a way to grieve for me. Like, doing photography is something that I enjoy, and it's also something that portrays emotions. And, like, for me, I think the writing at first was really hard to get back into.
Mm-hmm.
So I mainly focused on photography, and that was, like, what motivated me to stay engaged with journalism during all of this.
I think for a lot of us, after the shooting, we all thought it was really surreal, knowing that our school had one of the deadliest mass shootings in our nation. And for me, journalism was my way of, like Susanna, coping or grieving, and just recognizing the reality of our situation, that this is real and it's happened to our school.
I think also it was a way to grieve actually through writing when we started the memorial edition, just because we were talking about the people themselves. It was really hard to write like the news stories and that kind of stuff for online, like what happened, like blah blah blah. Like I could not do any of those. Like the memorial issue was good for grieving, writing those ones too.
They gave us the opportunity to write what exactly each person was like, because I think what Rebecca says, that we all know that they were good people and that were nice, but we wanted to write about their hopes and dreams and what exactly made them unique and why did everyone love them.
Oh, okay. So, did you guys ever expect to make such a big impact on society and on politics?
I don't think you really
No.
expect it, no. It's a hard question because I think originally when this all happened, people started speaking to the media, one, because they were getting offers to, and two, because we have a pretty, our community is very united and strong, and I think that in addition, we're quite knowledgeable compared to maybe some others, like in terms of what's going on around the world in politics and being aware that we can make a difference. So I think a lot of people decided to get out there, but like you don't expect like a movement to come out of it. You just kind of thought it would be for I don't know, like you didn't think it was going to turn into something so big. I mean,
You never, no one could have expected something like this to happen to our school. But I think for a lot of people, being politically active is a way to help them cope and to help them grieve. Because personally, what helps me feel better about it all is trying everything we can to make sure that this doesn't happen anywhere else. And no one else has to feel the pain and the torment that we do every day.
And I want to ask you guys, what role, in your own words, what role would you say each of you have had in the action that's been taken by students?
So for me personally, I co-founded like a lead drive in the community. It's called MSD Never Again Pick Up a Pen. Long title, but it's basically just a letter drive and a campaign to get people to like email and call their politicians and anyone else involved, like local, state, national. Additionally, for me, I've been doing media interviews and been helping out the newspaper a lot.
True.
Yeah, do you want anything like specific that I've been like doing in the media? Like I feel like I've just been doing like pretty like normal interviews. Oh.
National.
Was that? Yeah, I did something else. In DC.
You can't have guns, but they're not even old enough to vote, or something like that. Have you read that?
Yeah, or like people saying like, oh, you're not old enough to have an impact on politics, so why are you even trying?
Right. So what do you think about what people have to say about just that maturity and the age thing? You know, being a teenager, people saying that you can't do this.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. ourselves like informed and like just like informed and knowledgeable about what we're talking about. I don't see why it has to be a matter of maturity, especially when we're already handling such a tragedy in such a mature way. To come out and say like you can't handle politics is not really, like, it kind of seems like a step down from what we've been dealing with. Like, I think that's a completely different thing.
Like wisdom and knowledge, I guess that can come with age.
Yeah.
But character is something you can build at any age. And I think at any age you can have a voice and can be banned to be heard.
So our story is focusing on teen efficacy, teen activism. So I want to ask you guys what you think it means to change the world.
What it means? That's such a tough question. Well, I mean, in terms of changing the world, it's really...
So what was she answering?
You were talking about what you've been doing in DC.
Yeah.
So what I did in DC is there was a documentary released about people who come out with like rumors after tragedies like this, like that it didn't happen, those kind of things, conspiracy theorists. So I was on a panel that at the National Press Club. It was like an hour discussion about like how people can say this. Like we were getting called crisis actors a lot, and just like fakers, like paid actors, all that normal stuff. So I spoke about that on a panel, and then also I went to Dubai to speak at a convention, which was a great experience. It was really interesting how many people in like the international community knew what we were doing already and like knew about like what happened at our school, and it was kind of surreal, but yeah.
I did not go to Dubai.
But what'd you do, Richard?
But like her, I've been talking to a lot of media, just trying to share the world, the experiences that we've had from the school shooting and how we're dealing with it. I've also been writing as part of the school newspaper, and I've also been writing freelance on my own to local publications, written some editorials just about calls for gun reform and mental health reform.
They're good articles too.
Yep, sure.
I've read them. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
So talking about gun reform, I know that there are a lot of adults who are basically, going against the movement or saying that what you guys are doing isn't going to be enough, So what would you say to the adults who are, taking their time out, to go against a group of students who have faced a tragedy?
I mean, I still respect their opinions. They're allowed to disagree with our calls for action on this topic, but I think that there's no need for personal attacks. I think those need to stay away. But if you disagree about the policy we're talking about, I'm okay. You disagree, like that's fine. That's your opinion. I'd always love if they did support us, but
I think it's good that there's disagreement, because when this disagreement allows for a discussion on what exactly should we do, what would satisfy most parties. But I think an important thing is not to make personal attacks. Don't make any too radical proposals. Like, I think a lot of people think that with the Never Again movement, the March for Our Lives, it's like ban all guns. Like,
but like but then that's a common misconception too, because that's not what they're pushing for. We're pushing for. It's more so the
regulation.
It's regulation, and then like people have been talking about the ban on semi-automatic weapons. That thing that like it expired in 2004, and then no one renewed that bill. So like people are saying like, oh, you can't do that. That's taking away all guns, but like the precedent for it is there, which is why like that argument doesn't make sense, because we have done it in the past and it hasn't escalated to the point where we're trying to ban all guns. So that's like kind of defeats that argument, which I think has been probably it is the most under attack from anyone who's like opposing what we're doing.
But for the opposition, like, we know where they're coming from. Like, a lot of them are probably sensible and law-abiding gun owners, so they feel bad, like, why does some crazy guy have to shoot all the people and we have to pay for it? So, like, to that we say, like, you can make sacrifices for a hobby just to save a life.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you guys think? I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm thinking, I think people are probably a little intimidated by you. I mean, and the whole maturity thing, like, people assume that teenagers aren't as mature they aren't mature enough to do these kinds of things. And something I've seen a lot is like this statement that's like teenagers want to say that you can't have guns, but they're not even old enough to vote or something like that. Have you read that?
Yeah, or like people saying like, oh, you're not old enough to have an impact on politics, so why are you even trying?
Right. So what do you think about what people have to say about just that maturity and the age thing, being a teenager, people saying that you can't do this?
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. So just for me, I kind of think like yes, I understand like maturity comes with age, but it's also a matter of like the knowledge, and like as long as we're keeping ourselves like informed and like just like informed and knowledgeable about what we're talking about, I don't see why it has to be a matter of maturity, especially when we're already handling such a tragedy in such a mature way. To come out and say like you can't handle politics is not really like, it kind of seems like a step down from what we've been dealing with. Like I think that's a completely different thing.
Like wisdom and knowledge, I guess that can come with age.
Yeah.
But character is something you can build at any age, and I think at any age you can have a voice and can demand to be heard.
So our story is focusing on teen efficacy, teen activism. So I want to ask you guys what you think it means to change the world.
What it means? That's such a tough question. Well, I mean, in terms of changing the world, it's really only a matter of changing. It's a matter of having an impact on the people around you. It doesn't have to be a worldwide change. Like, I guess like what's happening, but like that's not how changing the world is defined. It's about helping the little guy and like service in your community and like being there for the people who need you. Like that's like changing the people around you, which therefore changes the world if everyone did that.
Like changing the world in little ways can have a big impact.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, so in that context, definitely that's how I define it. I think what we're doing is still changing the world. It's just like a little more of a literal sense of it.
That's not right.
So for other teens who want to change the world and who want to make the difference, but who think that they can't, do you have any advice for them?
Get involved.
Get involved. Start small.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
Be loud. Don't listen to opposition. Just push forward.
Don't listen to opposition, but take into account what they're saying. Be smart.
Okay, don't listen to the mean comments.
There you go.
Don't
listen to bullies. But it's a matter of knowing what you're talking about and being confident while doing it. But I mean, I think for people who have no experience in activism, start small. Start with like an officer position in school. Start with starting a community service project. Just do something that gets like your leadership on the table, and then figure it out from there. That's our school. Sorry.
That's okay. What time does your current class period end?
So as you guys have been pushing a movement forward, what have some of the most important resources been for you in order to get the word out?
Social media has been the biggest way of getting the message out there. I don't think I don't know how else we've been doing it. Like besides formal media, I think it's
young
mostly been
people,
social media.
we're kind of like professionals in social media.
Yeah.
It's always telling us like, oh, get off your phone. It's the chat and whatever. But yeah, we're using, I guess you could say, like what we use as a hobby.
Yeah.
For
But I mean, I think it's just mainly social media and formal media outlets. But it's not like we have this big secret of like what we're doing. It's there are like some people who are more like they have kind of like groups who organize certain nonprofits and certain things that are going on, and I think all of that together makes up what we're doing. So it's a lot of people doing their own little things, but all for the same reason too. I think that's been a big part of it.
Yes, especially with social media, it lets you share a message to a lot of people very quickly, and I think that's a big part of the success of our movement.
Right. Okay. Do you have
Alright, so
You probably have to go. Do you?
I have to go. But
Yeah. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time,
thank
both of
you.
you. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. No problem. Wait, we just have a quick question because
Yeah.
Okay. What like state are you from?
We're from Texas.
Texas.
You're in the central Texas.
Yeah.
Alright, what part of
Cool
Texas?
stuff.
We're near Dallas, Texas.